So I'm laying on the gurney in the ER.
Mm-hmm.
Just been told that I've got 2 pulmonary embolisms. I got a blood clot in my leg. So my first question is, am I going to die?
Right. Right. Like, how much time do I have?
Yeah.
Right.
Am I going to survive?
Right.
And they were, the doctors were sort of, they were very serious about it. At the same time, I think trying not to get me too freaked out. But it really was probably the most sick I'd ever been. It was the most dangerous circumstance. Anyway, we've talked about that, and I'm almost getting tired of talking about that situation. But there was a second question that hit me, that surprised me. As I'm sitting there, waiting for the next move, I was going to be admitted. Here's a question across my mind. Who do I tell?
Who do you tell?
Like, who do I text? Who do I call? In days past, I would have called my mom and dad, right?
Sure. Right. Right.
So, and we have a very small family. So the only, other than my immediate family, the only other person to tell was my sister. And of course, Penny was there, and I knew I had to tell the kids. But after that, who are my people?
Right.
Who do I want to know what's going on with me, and who do I think should know what's going on with me? Because it's fascinating to me that nothing else mattered other than 2 things: my next breath and my relationships.
Right.
Have you ever been in a situation like that where you've been wondering who are my people?
Yeah, I have. And, it's to your point, it's who do I tell, and the aftermath. Because after you tell them, there's something they're going to do back, right? There's a behavior, there's a value that they can contribute or add to that particular scenario. And do I have the bandwidth for that? Is this the right person to tell? And it's like, do I tell them a little later when it's the problem is more resolved?
Yeah.
All of that, absolutely. And it's like it's your most vulnerable position, right?
Yeah,
you're at your weakest point where, hey, you might not be here. And so the next person you tell almost is like your gatekeeper, your taskmaster thereafter, right? Are they going to be able to continue some part of this journey or close out a few of these loops for me?
Yeah, and I'm wondering, okay, who do I know will pray for me? Who do I know will show up?
Right.
Who will help Penny through this time because she's going to need some. Who are my people? It really
sobering.
It was sobering to me. Well, in a minute I'll talk about this, the research on relationships, how crucial relationships are. But I was sitting there going, this is important to me.
Right.
Relationships are important. Now, interesting, the stats are a little bit alarming. Some people, have you heard this? Some people are saying that we're in right now a friendship recession.
I have heard that. I have.
Yeah. So they say it comes from the decline of trust, waning of social capital.
Right.
People and they're more lonely. Research several decades ago, the average number of close friends in America, this was decades ago, if you ask an American how many close friends you had, the average number was 3.
Wow.
3 close friends. But listen to this. Today, the most common answer to the question, how many close friends do you have, is none.
That's insane.
That's the most common answer. I don't have any friends. More Americans will say they have no close friends than any other option.
That's insane. That's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And question for you, just real quick. I mean, going back to who you tell first, now you're a man that has led tens of thousands of people. You have interacted with tens of thousands of people, and still yet you had to go through this list of who and what and when.
Yeah, well, file this away because we're going to come back to this.
Okay.
And this Arthur Brooks is a professor at Harvard, and he talks about happiness and societal health. He raised the question. I was listening to a podcast. He raised this question: how many deal relationships do you have versus real relationships? We'll come back to that in a minute because I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I was in an organization with thousands of people around me, but most of them were deal relationships.
Highly transactional.
Yeah. We'll come back to that. But
okay.
And honestly, when I retired from that was one of the hardest things for me. 'Cause looking around, who are my people? Who are the real relationships in my life? And it all came right to that moment sitting in the ER. It all came to bear when I said, who do I tell that I'm in this physically compromised position? United States, this was several years ago, a study suggested that 3 out of 4 adults feel moderate to high levels of loneliness every day. 3 out of 4 adults. So you have people saying, the majority of people say, I have no close friends. That's the answer they choose more often. And everyone's saying, I'm lonely.
Right.
So I want to ask the question, why is that happening in a minute? And let's just muse on that.
Sure.
But here's the contrast. In my opening statement, I said that science, research, indicates that the most important decision you can make is to develop cultivate warm relationships. This is based on Harvard University did a study starting in 1938.
Wow.
So what is it? We're approaching 90 years.
Right.
This is the longest. It's called the Harvard Study on Adult Development. So it's the longest longitudinal study on happiness and well-being that's ever been done. They have studied 724 people over 85 years, and they discovered, with all this research, that the biggest predictor of happiness is the quantity and quality of our relationships.